Chapter 12. Shinobi Academy. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura had made it to the academy where they had to partake for the Chunin exams. Even though they had only trained with Captain Yamato for a few days, Team 7 had become slightly stronger thanks to the assistant sensei. "You guys ready?" Naruto asked with a confident smirk as he then saw the looks of confidence on his teammates. "Then let's rock." The team traveled inside until they saw a group of Chunin hopefuls gathered in front of a door that was blocked by two young men. "Hey, let us through," one hopeful said with a growl in his voice. "You can't do this," another hopeful protested in anger. Sasuke was about to say something until Naruto covered the Uchiha's mouth and whispered, "X-nay on the Injutsu GE. The less competition we have, the better chances of a promotion." Before the Uchiha could do anything, his blonde teammate led him towards the stairs with Sakura following. "So someone saw through our little trick." One of the guys at the room door thought with a hidden smirk, "There might be hope for some of these kids yet." Once Team 7 has made it far enough away from the other hopefuls, Naruto let go of Sasuke's. "Pal. What the hell?" Naruto said as he rubbed his slowly bruising eye until Sasuke roughly grabbed him by his jacket. "Never do that again," the Uchiha growled out before roughly dropping his teammate onto the floor. "Duly noted," Naruto said as he looked to find a familiar face standing before them. "You really should treat your teammates better," said Lee as he observed the group until he saw Sakura. "Who is this weirdo?" the Rosette thought as the oddly dressed boy took a few steps towards them. "Are you Sakura Haruno?" Lee asked before said girl gave him a confirming nod. "Then I must ask if you could be my girlfriend." "No way, ya creep!" the Rosette roared out with a look of angered disgust. Lee hung his head in defeat before he saw Sasuke Uchiha and asked, "You are Sasuke Uchiha, correct?" "I am," said person answered with a stern look on his face. "What do you want?" "I wish to have a small spar with you," Lee answered, much to Naruto's and Sakura's shock. "I don't think I accept," Sasuke said as he interrupted Naruto. "This will be over quickly." Sasuke and Lee then walked to opposite ends of the training area before getting into their battle stances. "Go Sasuke-kun!" Sakura cheered as she and Naruto stood at the sidelines. "Don't forget that we don't have a lot of time for this," the blonde called out, much to Sasuke's annoyance. "I thank you for having this quick spar with me," Lee said as he held his stance. "Hopefully I can become strong enough to defeat my rivals, and even though I had only met him once, I would count Lobaman as one of my rivals." This caught both Naruto's and Sasuke's attention for different reasons. "He considers Lobaman a rival?" Naruto thought in surprise as even though he had gotten better with using the latest additions of his power, he hadn't really sparred with anyone save for himself. "I'm kind of honored about that." "Lobaman?" Sasuke thought as he narrowed his eyes, "must be another fool like a Gunaman. Unworthy of the power they possess." Before another idea could come to mind, Sasuke suddenly dashed towards Lee while said opponent remained still. The Uchiha then went in for a punch straight for the young boy, but he missed when Lee suddenly vanished out of nowhere. "What the?" Sasuke said as he looked for his opponent until something had alerted him about something behind him. The Uchiha quickly ducked before seeing Lee go into a kick and went to block the attack until he saw his opponent make a motion with his free hand. "He's going to use a jutsu," Sasuke thought in slight panic until Pow! Sasuke was launched a few yards after receiving a powerful kick from Lee. "How did he get through Sasuke's guard?" Naruto asked in surprise at what had happened. "What did that guy do?" "What was that?" Sasuke thought as he pushed himself onto his knees. "Ninjutsu? Genjutsu? Guess I should bring that out." Lee remained still in his stance, even when he saw Sasuke look at him confidently with his now active Sharingan eyes. "So the young boy thought as he kept his focus on his opponent, he brings out the Sharingan. Time to see if I can get past this legendary Kekkei Genkai." Sasuke then charged towards Lee as he tried to read his opponent's possible movements. He knew that this guy had to be using something, as no Jounin could ever be that fast naturally, so whatever jutsu that Lee was going to use would be completely useless. Pow! The Uchiha was launched high into the air by his opponent, surprising Sasuke's teammates once again. I must say that I am slightly disappointed that you would think I would use either ninjutsu or genjutsu, Lee said as he crouched onto his hands and knees, when all I am using is pure Taijutsu. Taijutsu? The members of Team 7 thought as Lee jumped high into the air and was behind Sasuke. This match is over, Lee said as the bandages on his arms began to unravel until a pinwheel zipped through the air and stabbed the bandages into a nearby wall. Huh? Naruto and Sakura thought before they quickly caught Sasuke as a large, red tortoise appear while Lee landed on the ground. Lee. The tortoise said with a gruff voice, you know that move is forbidden. My apologies. Lee responded with a bow, much to the confusion of Team 7. In the blink of an eye, a new, yet another familiar face appeared standing on top of the tortoise's shell. Greetings, youthful Jounin, said Gay as he stepped off the tortoise while his smile beamed in the light. Gay-sensei. Lee said until he was punched by his older look-alike. What have I told you about using that move? Gay scolded as he looked at his student. I know, and please forgive me, Gay-sensei. Lee cried out as tears ran down his face, I shall make it up to you by running 1,000 laps around the village. That isn't necessary. Gay said with tears running down his own face as the place suddenly became a seaside cliff at sunset. You have already accepted responsibility and I couldn't be any more prouder. Gay-sensei. Lee. Gay-sensei. Lee. Much to Team 7's horror, the two lookalikes went into a hug as a golden wave of water crashed against the rocks. What the hell? That apostrophe s. That's just. I wasted my time fighting something like him? Unable to take any more, Naruto's mind had finally shut itself down, causing said blonde to pass out onto the floor before Sakura quickly picked up her fallen teammate and ran off with Sasuke following behind. Naruto's mindscape. Although Naruto wasn't present, the legendary warriors had their own unique reaction to what they had just saw. What in Drissel's name was that? Ancient Beetleman cried out as Ancient Megatheriumon was laying on his side, stiff as a board. Get it out! Get it out! Get it out! Ancient Troyman said as he was jumping around in panic while Ancient Volcamon was curled up at a corner trying to find his happy place. We have faced many fearsome opponents in our lives. Ancient Greymon said as his stoic face hid the look of panic in his eyes. But we have never seen the likes of that. Ancient Garurumon said with a horrified voice. Ancient Caseman and Ancient Mermaimon had fallen onto the floor and were frothing from the mouths while occasionally twitching. I fear I can never unsee that again. Ancient Wiseman said as the image kept playing over and over again in his mind. I think I'll be coughing up hairballs for weeks once this is all done. Ancient Sphinxman said as his stomach was feeling upset, I just hope we never see something like that again. It would be too soon. Shinobi Academy. Naruto. Sakura's voice echoed in Naruto's skull, "Wake up, Naruto." What? Naruto groggily said as his eyes were readjusting to the light. What happened? You passed out after witnessing that. Sakura answered with a slight shiver down her spine. The memory of what the rosette was talking about sent a shiver down the blonde's spine as he thought, that image should be used for torture. So you're finally up, said a familiar voice as Naruto looked to see Yamato and Kakashi. Almost thought we couldn't let you go any further. Yamato and Sakura helped Naruto onto his feet as Kakashi said, this is a team effort and there will be competition, and unlike the exams you had taken at the academy, this will be a matter of life or death, as Jounin teams from the visiting villages will give everything they got in order to go up in rank. Even killing one another. Sakura gulped at the possibility of either her or her teammates dying during the exams. Or even the thought of taking a life from someone else. I'll take all of them on, Sasuke said with a serious tone as he was eager to bring out his full power. Naruto let out a small sigh at his teammates' attitude about having to fight someone who might end up killing without a second thought. but he was also eager as well to see some of the other ninjas out there in the world. As Team 7 went through the door, Yamato glanced over towards Kakashi and through the use of ambu signals, he asked the silver-haired Jounin, "Do you think Naruto would have to use the legendary warrior's powers?" "I don't know." Kakashi answered using the same ambu signals. "I doubt they would let him use the power so openly, but with the second part." Yamato let out a small hum before he asked, "What about the Kyuubi?" Silence echoed uncomfortably through the hall until Kakashi crossed his arms and, without ambu signals, said, "We'll just have to hope that Team 7 will be able to do their best and pray nothing bad will happen." In the exam room, time slowly passed as Naruto was looking at his paper in confusion as he didn't know any of this stuff. "Damn it," Naruto thought as he rested his forehead on the knuckles of his left hand, "none of this makes sense. How am I supposed to answer these questions without cheating?" It had been 15 minutes since the written exam had started and already 3 different teams had been thrown out after they were caught cheating. The proctor was also ruthless as he had a glare on his scarred face that could bore a hole in your head within seconds. The blonde knew that he was completely screwed as he was never that knowledgeable as Sakura or Sasuke. As he tried to think of the answer, Naruto then saw a beetle approach his paper and began to crawl towards one of the questions. "Is that Naruto thought as the beetle looked familiar until it hit him. "It is." The blonde watched as the beetle then began to fly around a little bit in a circular formation. "I get it," Ancient Wiseman said from inside Naruto's mind. "The objective of this exam is to not just answer the questions. But gather information without getting caught. Just keep watching the beetle and I'll help you answer some of the questions as best as I can." "Thanks, Kinzakuji-san," Naruto thought as he smirked before writing down some of the answers to the test. "This exam will be a breeze." However, Ancient Grayman said as he saw a couple of teams getting kicked out of the room, "This part will most likely be the only time that we will help you." "What do you mean?" Naruto asked as he answered another question with the help of Shino's beetle. "For the rest of the exams, Naruto," Ancient Megatheriumon grimly said, "you will not be allowed access to our power." It took a lot of willpower for Naruto to contain his outburst as the blonde then thought, "What? Why?" "Because we wish to see how much you, yourself, had grown thanks to our help." Ancient Sphinxman said stoically, "Our power is but an extension of your own. One that you cannot rely on all the time." "But don't worry, kid," Ancient Volcamon said, "we'll only let you borrow our power in extreme danger since I doubt the Chunin exams will be this easy." Naruto nodded to himself as even though he won't be able to use their full powers, he still had the legendary warriors on his side. Jounin Lounge. Kakashi, Yamato, and some of the other Konoha Jounin were sitting on some of the couches within the lounge. "So how do you think they're doing?" Kurenai asked as she looked at the others. "The written part shouldn't be too difficult for them." "I don't think so," Yamato answered grimly as he crossed his arms. "The first proctor's Ibuki, a well-known name in the torture and interrogation division. He's not going to go lightly on them. And then there's the second proctor," Kakashi added as he was reading his favorite book, Anko Mitarashi, another well-known name in T&I. "Two of Konoha's feared torturers handling Jounin?" said a black-haired, bearded Jounin smoking a cigarette. "Kami only knows who's proctoring the fights." "Do you doubt your students, Asuma?" Ge asked the bearded Jounin. "It's not that I doubt my team," Asuma said as he flicked a few ashes into the ashtray on the coffee table. "It's just that Ibuki is known to be brutal when it comes to mental interrogation while Lanko can be sadistic with her methods." "Can't argue with you there," Kurenai said as she had been Anko's closest friend. Ge took a drink of sake before he asked, "So have any of you met Lobomon or any of his friends?" Kakashi and Kurenai stole quick hidden glances at each other as Asuma asked, "I don't know who this Lobomon character is, but is he something like Kumamon?" "I remember Hinata mentioning Kumamon during training some time ago," Kurenai said as the image of burning Greymon was in the back of her mind. A snow white bear had given her and Sakura quite a scare that day on their picnic with Uno. I couldn't get Inu to be quiet as she kept saying how cute Kumamon was and how she wanted to keep cuddled up next to him. Asuma said as he placed a hand on his temple, sort of made me wish that she would just talk about Sasuke instead of a summon animal. You know. Gay said as he brought a hand to his chin in a thoughtful manner, I remember seeing Sasuke one day training and perfecting some fire jutsus while mentioning Agunaman and Burning Greymon. Kept saying something about having power that rightfully belongs to him. Kakashi let out a sigh as he said, I was hoping that Sasuke would have kept quiet about those two, but we have met up with Agunaman, a powerful warrior that can manipulate fire to his will. So Agunaman's the very embodiment of fire? Gay asked as he and Asuma were both shocked. What of Burning Greymon? Silence echoed through the lounge until Kira and I said, Burning Greymon is also Agunaman. But at a more wild and uncontrollable level. When we first met Burning Greymon, he was proven to be a match for Zabuza Momogi. Kakashi said as Gay and Asuma let their jaws drop at the revelation. If Zabuza's assistant hadn't jumped in when he did. Who knows what could have happened? You mean? Asuma asked as he snuffed out his fallen cigarette, he's that powerful? Yes. Kakashi said as he closed his book and looked at his colleague, last I have seen Agunaman was when he had left, promising that the next time that we meet, Burning Greymon will be under his control. Such a promise. Gay said as tears rolled down his face. Agunaman is truly the embodiment of the flames of youth. I shall match his conviction by doing 1,000 push-ups. I shall meet back with you later at the tower. The Taijutsu master ran out of the lounge as the other Jounin couldn't help but wonder just how did someone like Mei Itoge become a ninja. Forest of Death. Naruto couldn't believe his rotten luck. His team was able to get through the first part of the exam, but they were thrown into another part where they had to get the right scroll from the other teams while also facing off all sorts of nasty creatures that reside inside the forest. Who freaking ambushing a guy when he's taking a piss? Naruto shouted out as he was able to get a kunai from his pouch and cut the rope loose. Only for a giant snake to rush by and swallow him effortlessly. Seriously? Naruto screamed out as he was traveling through the snake's insides before he formed a seal. I know they said only for emergencies, but I consider getting digested by a snake a huge emergency. Spirit fusion, light. Outside of the snake, the serpent was coiled up in itself until a beam of light had erupted from its side. Lobo Kendo! Shouted a voice from inside the snake as the beam of light began to tear the snake open to reveal Loboman jumping out of the injured serpent, covered in blood and slime. Taking a look at the slime dripping off of his arm and sticking onto his hand, Loboman cringed and said, Ugh, disgusting. I'm covered in snake barf. Seeing a bright orange glow from deeper into the forest, Loboman quickly ran off as he could only imagine that Sakura and Sasuke were in trouble. Hang in there guys. Naruto thought as he knew that he wouldn't stay as Loboman for long, help is on the way. With the rest of Team 7, Sasuke was facing off against a ninja from Kuzukura who seemed to be far more powerful than a mere Jounin. What's the matter? The Kuzu shinobi asked with a sickly sweet smile on her face, I thought you were supposed to be stronger than that. The shinobi charged through the forest and gave Sasuke a powerful kick to the stomach, sending him colliding into a nearby tree with a sickening impact. I guess I was wrong then. The Kuzu shinobi chuckled out as she quickly formed some seals, summoning jutsu. A large plume of smoke erupted from the Kunoishi's palm as a giant snake sprung from the smoke and charged towards the stunned Uchiha. Is this it? Sasuke thought as he could hear his heart pumping loudly in his ear, is this how I'll die? Weak and powerless? Howling laser. A bright beam of light shone right through the forest before piercing itself right through the snake as the creature then disappeared in a cloud of smoke. What the? The Kuzu shinobi said as she then saw a new figure standing on a branch that Sasuke had fallen onto. This new figure appeared to be a young man wearing white and blue armor that had clawed boots, a wolf-shaped helmet, some sort of cannon on its arm, and a long blue scarf with stripes. The figure also had some sort of device in its right hand that had a beam of light coming from it, acting like the blade of a sword. Play Leoman's theme from Digimon World 1. I hope you don't mind me jumping in. said the warrior as he sternly looked at the kunoichi, but I was told by an Naruto Uzumaki that his friends were in danger and that he may not be able to reach them in time. Sakura soon jumped next to Sasuke as she asked, Who are you? Leaves danced around the new combatant as he held his light blade out before him in an underhand position and said, I am Lobaman, warrior of light. I was sent here by Naruto after I had rescued him from being eaten by a giant snake. One that this woman had to have summoned. This is interesting. The Kuza shinobi thought to herself, my spy had never told me about someone like this Lobaman before. With a smirk on her face, the Kuza shinobi charged towards Lobaman in blinding speed before giving the warrior a swift kick towards the head. Get back! Lobaman said as he quickly blocked the attack with his arm before jumping away with the kunoichi following him. Sakura jumped away in time as she saw the Kuza kunoichi quickly vanish before giving Lobaman a quick right hook into his face. So fast! Lobaman thought as he quickly countered with a kick, but missed as the kunoichi swiftly dodged and countered with a kick that Lobaman had just barely blocked. She's as fast as Lee. Sensing another attack coming at him, the warrior of light quickly swung his beam sword and severed the kunoichi's hand off. You're quite fast, said the Kuza kunoichi before her entire body turned into a puddle of brown goop. What the? Lobaman said until he was kicked in the jaw by the kunoichi, who had both of her hands, causing him to slide back from the force. But your speed pales compared to mine, the kunoichi said as she saw the warrior of light shake the cobwebs out of his head. She's right, Naruto thought until an idea formed in his head, time to try a different tactic. You may have speed on your side, Lobaman said as he placed his hands into a familiar seal, but I have some tricks up my sleeves. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Both members of Team 7 and the Kuza shinobi looked on in shock as more Lobamans appeared in plumes of smoke, each of them holding a beam sword in either one or both hands. He knows the Shadow Clone Jutsu? Sakura thought as the original Lobaman gave his duplicates the order to attack, but isn't that Naruto's jutsu? Sasuke growled as he watched each Lobaman attack the Kuza kunoichi furiously with their blades. Even though the kunoichi had dispelled some of them with successful hits, the sheer number of them just seemed impossible for one person like Lobaman. How could he have that much power? Sasuke thought as more Lobamans were destroyed while two of them were just standing back with a light glowing from that strange cannon on their arms. I must admit that I had never expected someone else to use the Nadame's information gathering jutsu in such a manner. The Kuza shinobi said with a slight chuckle behind her voice. However, you also forget that ninjas always have more tricks up their sleeves. The kunoichi suddenly lowered herself to the branch of the tree before she moved past all of the Lobamans in a snake manner towards the other members of Team 7. Oh no you don't, said Lobaman as he used a substitution jutsu to replace Sakura and Sasuke with himself and his duplicate. Eat this. Twin howling laser. Both Lobamans thrusted their arm cannons forwards before releasing a powerful blast of light in the Kuza shinobi's face. A terrible scream erupted as the beam had disintegrated the shinobi and continued to travel through the trees, leaving burning bark in its wake once the light had died down. In song. Way to go, Lobaman. Sakura cheered until she noticed something on the underside of the branch. The warrior of light, look out. Lobaman couldn't act fast enough as the kunoichi that he thought he had obliterated was in front of him, without a scratch on her, with each of her fingertips glowing an ominous purple. I must admit that I have never in my life faced someone like yourself, the shinobi said with a disturbing smirk on her face, but sadly you've disappointed me with how reckless and amateurish you fight. This should stop you from using your chakra attacks. The kunoichi slammed her glowing hand into the original Lobaman's midsection as she called out, five-pronged seal. The warrior of light cringed as the woman's hand suddenly made contact with him before a pulse of pain erupted from where he was hit. A sudden kick to the face had knocked him unconscious, unaware that the kunoichi had kicked him off the branch that they were on. Lobaman! Sakura cried out as said warrior continued to fall into the darkness that hid the forest floor. She was about to rush towards the warrior of light's rescue until Sasuke grabbed her and barked, let's get away from her. We still have our scroll with us, so he's of no concern to us. Sakura remained quiet and paralyzed with fear as the sound of broken branches echoed sickeningly in her mind before she was forcibly dragged away by the Uchiha. Please Kami, Sakura prayed in her mind as she didn't keep her eyes off where Lobaman had vanished, keep both Lobaman and Naruto safe. At the forest floor, a large tiger was about to pounce on a frightened Jounin after killing his teammates in a ruthless manner. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. The shinobi thought as he kept his eyes on the beast while warmth crept onto his legs. I should have listened to mother and became a merchant. The sound of breaking branches caused both Jounin and Tiger to look up to find a white wolf that was much larger than the tiger land on top of the beast, killing it when it had slammed its golden claw onto the tiger's head. With glowing white eyes, the giant wolf then looked at the Jounin with a threatening growl. In nice DD doggy. The Jounin said before a scream echoed throughout the forest and ended as abruptly as it had began.
Hey guys, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you guys want to watch more like it, please subscribe to my channel and become part of the video game fanfiction plot. And please leave a comment down below and hit that like button. If you guys have any suggestions on any stories you guys want me to read, don't hesitate. They're always welcome here in the video game fanfic plot. That also goes for video games. Until next time, goodbye!